Welcome back, everybody. This is my Week 17 edition of the NFL Power Rankings. Lots to get into today. I think this list is pretty good, but who knows? Maybe you guys disagree. Let me know down in the comments below, but we are going to get right into it. Starting off with my lowest tier, the bottom couple tiers, we're not really going to touch much on, to be honest, because these teams are just so bad, and we don't really need to focus on them. So, kicking it off with Tier 11, complete failure. The Panthers, the Cardinals. They've been 32 and 31 for quite a while. We know that it's a complete failure. We know these teams are bad. Let's move on. Tier 10, quarterback coach question marks. Number 30, moving up a tier, but still in the number 30 spot. The Patriots, they did win, but we still do not know about their quarterback. Bailey Zappi is probably not going to be their starter next year. And Bill Belichick, I'm not sure if he's going to be their coach. Washington Commanders at number 29. Again, not a good team. Sam Howell got benched. Jacoby Brissett's going to be the starter this week. And who knows about Ron Rivera? I think he might be cooked. Number 28, the Chargers. Again, I don't know who their coach is going to be. There's rumors about Belichick, maybe Jim Harbaugh. I don't really know, but Justin Herbert, he needs a new coach right now. And at number 27, Tennessee Titans. They are ahead of the Chargers. They have the same record, but Tennessee did beat them early in the season. So I'm giving them the slight edge. Will Levis, maybe he's the guy, not sure. The Giants at number 26, Tommy DeVito, he got benched. So again, quarterback question marks. Tyrod Taylor is going to start. He's obviously not the guy going forward. Maybe Daniel Jones still is. Number 25, I have the New York Jets, also the other New York team. And again, the Jets just not very good. Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be their quarterback next year. Don't know if he's going to be any good. Robert Saleh, I don't think he can coach, but the Jets certainly think that he can. And number 24, the Chicago Bears. And again, quarterback Justin Fields, Caleb Williams might be getting drafted there next year. So Justin Fields probably not the answer there. And Matty Eberflus, do we think he can coach? I'm not sure. They are 6-9, the Bears' highest team in this ranking now, but still in tier 10. Now tier 9, just plain weird. These two teams, I cannot figure them out. They are still alive in the playoff chase, but they are just, I don't think they should be. Number 23, the Falcons. Moving up a tier, they did win again. They're 7-8, and I have them at number 23, which is actually the highest I've had them all season. And yeah, I can't figure Atlanta out. Desmond Ritter's not good, neither is Taylor Heineke, but this team is still managing to win games, and they're one game back of Tampa Bay for the playoffs to win the NFC South. So, it's possible the Falcons can sneak into the playoffs. I don't think they will, but weird team. And number 22, the Vikings, also a really weird team because they were bad early on, and then they got really, really hot. Kirk Cousins got injured, and they stayed really hot because Josh Dobbs was going off. But then they've kind of fallen off since then, and now Nick Mullins is playing, and they're going to have to win out if they want to make the playoffs. I don't think they will. Vikings at 22. They did beat the Falcons earlier in the season, so the Falcons up a tier. The Vikings drop down a tier. Now we get to tier 8, still alive for now. This is the same tier we had last week. Number 21, Denver. Oh, no. Denver, you were at number 10 last week. Denver falls 11 spots in the power rankings. That's the biggest drop of the week. Yeah, sorry, Denver. I thought you guys were good, but no, you are not. You are not good. You lost to Bailey Zappi and the Patriots. I think it's Sean Payton's fault. Some people will blame Russell Wilson. Number 20, the Colts. You're still alive for now, but I'm not sure if the Gardner Minshew magic is going to stay alive. You have to play the Texans and I believe Tennessee, so 2 divisional games coming up. Not sure if the Colts are going to win either of those games, to be honest. Maybe they win one of them, but I don't think the Colts are making the playoffs. However, they are still alive for now. And at number 19, the Los Angeles Rams moving up a tier. They were at number 22 last week. Now they're up to 19, so welcome back into the top 20. Los Angeles, for the first time all season, has a winning record, 8-7. I guess they had a winning record in week 2 when they were in week 3 when they were 2-1. So the first time in a while, the Rams have a winning record. I'm not sure if this is a playoff team. If they beat the Giants, they're going to be close, though, and they play the Giants this New Year's Eve. Tampa Bay coming in at number 18, so I guess this is also including number 18. Oops. Tampa Bay at number 18, yeah, still alive for now. They are leading the NFC South. Here's what I'll say about the Buccaneers. I've been saying this all season. I've been the biggest Buccaneers hater all season, but credit to the Bucs. You're at number 18 now. Let's see what you can do. You have to beat the Saints to win the division. I think the Saints are going to win. I have been predicting all season long that the NFC South is going to come down to week 16 to week 17, Saints versus Bucks. That's what it looks like because the Saints are 7-8, Bucks are 8-7. So if the Bucks beat the Saints, they win the division. If the Saints beat the Bucks, probably they're going to win the division. I have the Saints. A lot of people have the Bucks though. The Bucks are favored. Let's see if I'm right. And at number 17, I have the Las Vegas Raiders. They are still alive for now because they beat the Chiefs. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs? Obviously, no, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but they're still alive for now, and they just got one of the biggest wins of their season. Aiden O'Connell taking down Patrick Mahomes. Next up, Tier 7 collapsing without a quarterback. These two teams would be playoff teams, but they've both collapsed without having a quarterback. The Bengals. If you had Joe Burrow right now, I guarantee you would be in the playoffs. Jake Browning won a few games, but it looks like Browning's magic has kind of run out. They've lost back-to-back. Now they have to go play two more very tough teams. They have to play the Chiefs, and then they have to play the Browns. I'm not sure if they are going to be able to win either of those games. So the Bengals are 8-7. Pretty good chance they're going to finish at 8-9 and end up missing the playoffs. And at number 15, the team that just beat them, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, they have really been hovering around 13th to 17th all season. They're at number 15 right now. Pittsburgh still has a chance, but again, Mason Rudolph is your new quarterback. Mitch Trubisky was not very good. Kenny Pickett's out for the season. Yeah, it's rough for Pittsburgh. And if you had a quarterback, I think you'd be in the playoffs. But right now, I think you're probably going to end up on the outside looking in. Both of these teams are currently 8-7. The Steelers have beat the Bengals twice. That's why they're ahead of them. Next up, we got Tier 6, first round blowout. These three teams are going to be in the playoffs, I believe, but I don't think any of them are getting past the first round. Starting with number 14, the New Orleans Saints. Yes, I do think the Saints are going to win the NFC South. I know they lost to the Rams last week. I know they're a game behind Tampa Bay, but I think they are going to win out. They're going to go 9-8, beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week, and win that division. After that, they're going to get blown out in the first round of the playoffs by Dallas. Next up, number 13, the Green Bay Packers. They beat the Saints earlier on in the season, and this is another team who is 7-8 currently. I know they're not currently in the playoffs, but I think the Green Bay Packers are going to win out. They're going to beat the Vikings and then beat the Bears. Two easy, winnable games for them. I think they will win both of those games. They're going to be 9-8, and they're going to get in off of a tiebreaker because they're going to be tied at 9-8 with a couple of other teams. They're going to make the playoffs. Green Bay, I like them as a playoff team. I don't like them to win a playoff game. They're getting blown out in the first round. And finally, number 12, my favorite team, the Seattle Seahawks, another team that I think is going to get into the playoffs. I think they're going to win at least one, maybe two, maybe both of their games. They're going to make the playoffs as a wildcard team, but they are not going to make it past the first round. Not with Geno Smith, Jordan Love, or Derek Carr. None of these three quarterbacks are playoff winning quarterbacks, but I think they can all get there. Next up, we have Tier 5, dangerous wildcard teams. Here we go, number 11. The Texans. I had them at 8 last week, but they lost a bad game against Cleveland. Case Keenum could not beat his old team, the Browns, and so the Texans have to fall out of the top 10 at 8-7. I still think this is a very dangerous wildcard team. I think there's a lot of talent on this roster. I think they have a really good chance at potentially pulling off an upset in the wild card round. I think they are going to get there. They have a couple of winnable games coming up. They play the Colts and I play the Tennessee Titans. So they have two divisional games. Both teams, I think they're better than. So especially if CJ Stroud can get healthy, this Texans team can get healthy, get on a roll, they can beat anybody in the playoffs. Mark my words. And finally, not finally, but kicking off the top 10, welcome back to the top 10. It's been a couple of months. We've missed you. Buffalo, number 10, welcome back. We've missed you, Buffalo, but the Bills have been playing really good football, and they are back in the top 10. They move up 5 spots. They were at number 15 last week. Now they are at number 10 as they get another win against the Chargers on the road. Tough game. The defense balled out. Josh Allen made some plays, and Buffalo Bills at 9-6, they are all of a sudden look like they are pretty easily going to make the playoffs. They pretty much only have to win one more game, and they're going to be in. I think they will. They play New England this week. If they win that, they won't clinch, but they give themselves a very good chance. I have them at number 10 because I don't think they're going to win the division. They play Miami in week 18, and I know a lot of people are going to take the Bills in that game. I think the Dolphins are going to get revenge from that week 4 blowout loss, and I think the Dolphins in Miami are going to win. They're going to lock up the division. So the Bills are going to be a wild card team, but they're very dangerous as a wild card team. They can beat both of these teams in the wild card round. Watch out. You don't want to face these teams in the wild card weekend. Next up, tier 4, the future is bright. I think this is the wrong name of the tier. It is. So this tier, I'm not sure why the tier says the future is bright in the South. What it's meant to say is, I believe it's, well, okay, this is a rematch tier, right? These two teams, number 9 and number 8, the Browns and the Jaguars. So they're gonna face off with each other in a rematch, I believe, in the playoffs, right? The Browns and the Jags have already played once. They played 3 weeks ago, I believe. Joe Flacco versus Trevor Lawrence, and Joe Flacco won. The Browns won that game. I think these two teams are going to meet again in the playoffs, because the way I have it seeded, the Jags are going to end up with the 4 seed, and the Browns are going to end up with the top wildcard seed, the 5 seed. That sets up what I think is going to be the best game of wildcard weekend. The veteran Joe Flacco against a guy in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, who has won a playoff game before, but he's very young and he has not been playing well. Joe Flacco's on a heater right now. So that is going to be, in my opinion, the best game of wildcard weekend. And credit to the Browns, back into the top 10. It's been a couple weeks for them as well, but at 10-5, at some point, no matter who the quarterback is, I have to respect a good team like the Browns. They are at number 9. Next tier, it's all about perspective. These 3 teams, it's all about the perspective, because all 3 of these teams come into the season with differing expectations. Starting off with number 7, the lowest they have been all season. The Kansas City Chiefs falling down to 7th place. I could not put this team down below. You know, the Chiefs, they beat the Jaguars, who I have at 8. So I was like, you know, it's close though, because they also lost to the Bills. But right now, I just think the Chiefs I still think they're the 7th best team. I cannot drop them below tier 3. I know this might sound crazy. They're 9-6. They've been losing lots of games, but it's the Chiefs. I'm going to give them some benefit of the doubt because it is Patrick Mahomes. What do I mean by it's all about perspective here? This is a team that if I told you they're going to be the 7th best team in the league, they're going to be 9-6, that they would not have clinched the division by week 17, people would have laughed. Their fan base would have laughed. I mean, this is a team that national media guys were saying they might win 15, 16 games this season. Now they're maybe not even going to get to 11 wins. Yeah, it's all about perspective with the Chiefs because they're still a good team, but you have to feel very disappointed if you're a Chiefs fan. And at number 6, also dropping down a tier, it's Dallas Cowboys at number 6. It's all about perspective with Dallas because this is really where they should be. This is where I expected them to be, about the 5th, 6th, 7th best team in the NFL. Their fans every single season expect them to be at the top of the league, and the media always treats them like they are either the best or the worst. There's no in between with Dallas, but from this perspective, Dallas in a pretty good spot. And finally, number 5. Welcome to the top 5. I'm not sure if Detroit has been this high all season, but at 11-4, I have to respect it. Detroit at number 5. What's their perspective? Their perspective is, oh my God, we're the 5th best team in the league. Merry Christmas. I mean, come on. The Lions haven't been this good in ages. So for these 3 teams, it's all about the perspective. One of these teams meant to be the best. Number 7 feels terrible. One of these teams, tier 3, seems about right for them. And one of these teams, always at the bottom of the league, now to be in tier 3 this late into the season, something they've never experienced before. So it's all about the perspective. Tier 2 need to hit their stride. These 2 teams, I think they can both win the Super Bowl, but if they want to win the Super Bowl, they need to hit their stride. Number 4, the Miami Dolphins. At number 4, the highest they have been all season, moving up into tier 2. Miami can win the Super Bowl. This is a dangerous team. However, if they want to win the Super Bowl, they're going to have to do it their way, which means they're going to have to get the number 2 seed, right? So they can play 2 playoff games at home, okay? Because they can win at home. So if they want to do that, they have to beat the Bills at home, lock up that division, and then win your first 2 playoff games at home. I think it's doable. Then your final playoff game might have to be in Baltimore. Well, you're going to play Baltimore this week. So even if you lose, you just have to take notes. How can we beat Baltimore? If this Miami offense especially can hit their stride, the defense keeps playing well, they've been playing well lately, they can win the Super Bowl. And at number 3, Philadelphia. Look, I know they lost 3 games in a row, but they're 11-4. They just made the Super Bowl last season, and I think the Eagles are still a really good team. Consider this. The Eagles beat the Dolphins. They also beat the Chiefs and the Cowboys. And then this past slide here, they also beat the Bills. And, well, so they did lose to Seattle, but then they beat the Rams back here, and they beat the Vikings. So they beat all the teams below them. So it's hard for me to move the Eagles down. A lot of people are saying, well, you should put the Eagles down. You should move the Eagles down. They beat all the teams that are below them, right? Besides the Seahawks, which is kind of a fluky one. They split with Dallas. So, I'm not quitting on the Eagles yet. The Eagles are still a really good team. They're still a team who is going to more than likely be the number 2 seed in the NFL. I do think they're going to win the division. They play the Cardinals and the Giants. They're going to win out. They're going to be the number 2 seed. They're going to win at least one, probably 2 playoff games. Their only fear, though, is that I don't think they can beat the 49ers. But if they can hit their stride, if Jalen Hurts is playing the best football of his life, if the defense can get back to where they were earlier on in the season, instead of what they're doing now, which is giving up 300 yards to every quarterback they face, this team can win the Super Bowl. But finally, number 1, best teams in the league. These 2 teams are the best teams in the league. I think this is going to be the Super Bowl. And you guys are going to definitely, you guys are not going to like this. Because at number 2, I know what they just did on national television against the 49ers. But I called this. Remember, if you watched my power rankings last week, I called this. Number 2, the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens, they are the best team right now in the NFL. Well, why aren't they number 1 in the power rankings? Because that's not what the power rankings are. The power rankings, in my eyes, is which team do I think has the best chance at winning the Super Bowl. I think the 49ers at number 1 still have the best chance to win the Super Bowl. And I hear you in the comments. I hear you. What are you talking about? The Ravens just beat the 49ers. I know. And I predicted that. I called it. I said last week, the Ravens are going to beat the 49ers in Santa Clara. Because the Niners aren't going to have an answer for Lamar Jackson. Well, what happened? The Niners didn't have an answer for Lamar. Lamar just went up and down the field on him. Helped that Brock Purdy threw 4 interceptions. And the Ravens dominated the game and beat them. But I said it last week in the podcast. I said, after this, the Niners are going to make it their goal to figure out how can we stop Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson doesn't lose to the NFC. It was pretty clear he was going to win that game. 20-1 against the NFC in his career. I think they're going to play again in the Super Bowl. I think the Ravens are the best team in the AFC. And I think the Niners are the best team in the NFC. These 2 teams are going to play again in the Super Bowl. And when they do, I think the 49ers are coming at this with an entirely different approach and an entirely different game plan. And I think in the rematch, they're going to be able to beat Lamar. The reason Lamar dominates the NFC, the reason he blew out Detroit, blew out Seattle, good teams. He didn't blow out the Rams because the Rams actually played well offensively, but he still scored 36 on the Rams. Why does he blow out all the NFC teams? It's because they don't know how to stop him. They don't have an answer for him. I think if they get a second chance, the Niners are going to be able, not necessarily to neutralize him, but they're going to be able to slow him down and get inside his head and play their type of game instead of his type of game. That's what a rematch is going to allow them to do. And from a purely roster perspective, the 49ers have a better offensive line. They have a better defensive line. They have better run game. They have better weapons receiving-wise. Better tight end because Mark Andrews is injured. The only thing the Ravens have on them is quarterback and secondary. Everything else the 49ers have better position-wise. And coach, I think, is a wash. So I look at it and I say it's very close, but I think the Niners have the better roster. Trent Williams is healthy. Debo stays healthy. McCaffrey stays healthy. The Niners are going to win that rematch. So I still think, after watching that blowout, I still think the 49ers are the number 1 team in the NFL. And I know you guys are going to disagree, so comment down below and tell me why I'm an idiot. I love to hear it. This, everybody, has been Coast to Coast Sports edition of the Week 17 Power Rankings. Thank you all so much for watching. We will see you guys in the next one.